Hello everyone and welcome to the Exit Station Volunteer Training webinar. My name is Anthony Paz and I'm the Regional Trainer for the Florida Immigrant Coalition. Today we're going to go over the Exit Station roles and procedures and all of the things that we need to cover in order for our applicant to be set and ready to go before filing their application. The Exit Station is one of the most important, if not the most important station within the clinic. Of course, with the exception of the N400 station, which is why folks come to clinics to fill out that N400 application, right? But the reason why the Exit Station is so important is because in order to be an Exit Station volunteer, you need to be well versed in both the N400 station, roles and procedures and process, and the fee waiver station, roles and procedures and process. Because at the very end, the Exit Station, we have to go over all of the N400s and all of the fee waivers that applicants have completed with their volunteers at our clinics. Now, before we begin, I want to go over the flow chart of our clinics. This is what our citizenship clinic layout generally looks like. Some clinics may, based on the location and everything and demand, may look a little bit differently, but generally the setup is about the same. The clinic is distributed into 5 various stations, plus the printing station. We have the registration station where folks come in, fill out their intake forms, get registered for the clinic. We have the legal station where folks undergo pre-screening and or legal review, final legal review. We have the N400 station, which is the largest station most of our volunteers are at, helping applicants fill out their N400. It takes the longest, anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half, filling out a 21-page document that is the N400 application, 21 pages. The printing station, which is where we print out the N400 copy and the front and back of our green cards from our applicants. Then we have the fee waiver station where we help them to determine whether they qualify for fee waiver and help them apply either the I-912 request for fee waiver or the I-942 request for partial reduced fee waiver. And then the last station is the Exit Station, and that's where we'll be at today. Now this is a checklist of our Exit Station. Basically what we want to do is we want to review the applicant's pre-screening intake, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. We'll review the applicant's N400 one more time. We'll review the applicant's fee waiver one more time. Then we'll assemble the packet in proper order before preparing the envelope and putting all of the stuff inside of it, explaining next steps to our applicant, give them additional information or study materials for the English language test and citizenship test and interview, and then of course congratulating and thanking them for coming. Now first you want to do is review the applicant's exit sheet. The applicant will bring this sheet from the legal review station already filled out by the legal reviewer. This sheet shows documents and information that the applicant should gather after the clinic. Information sheets you should give the applicant and the applicant's next steps. If you have any questions about this sheet that the legal review has filled out prior to sending the applicant over to you, ask the legal reviewer for clarification before proceeding with exit. If you have any other questions and the legal reviewer is not presently available because they're busy, you can always ask our Exit Station coordinator. We always have a station leader who can help to answer those questions for you as well. Now let's take a look at what that legal review sheet looks like. This is the final legal review sheet, part 2, after they've seen the lawyer for a second time. And basically the lawyer looks over everything, makes sure that everything is fine, everything is completed, they don't have any potential red flags that can jeopardize their application, or if they're being referred because there is a potential red flag, right? So we'll take a look over here. This is where we need to see. We need to make sure the applicant's name and A number is on it, the legal reviewer's name is on it, and the date. Excuse me. And then after that, we want to see this part right here, right? Indicate your recommendations and sign this form, signed by the legal reviewer. So these will be the recommendations. Have you reviewed the completed application, and do you recommend that the applicant continue today to the Exit Station with the completed applications? Checking yes for the I-912, checking yes for the N400. The N600 we leave blank because we do not do N600s at our citizenship clinics. Okay, letter B, do you recommend that the applicant return to an FNA workshop after gathering additional documents and information? This is if our applicant is missing additional documentation or information necessary to complete their application in order for us to give them the thumbs up and say, okay, you're good to go, you're ready to submit your application, there won't be any challenges or any risks along the way, go ahead and get that done. And C, do you recommend that the applicant receive a referral to a legal services agency based on your review in the FNA legal referral guidelines? This is in the event that an applicant has not completed something and there's a potential red flag. Maybe this person went through deportation proceedings 10 years ago, but it might be a little tough. Maybe this person has a criminal record. And so we want to make sure that the lawyer is using their discretion and their expertise to determine what is the next best step for our applicant. Should they go ahead and finish the application? Are they good to go to proceed? Or should they receive a referral to a legal services agency, right? And D, do you recommend that the applicant seek help with English language skills in order to prepare for the naturalization interview? This part is very important, and for a couple of reasons. First off, at this point, the applicant will already be with you. When the applicant arrives to the exit station, that means they have undergone the entire clinic process. If they've completed their N400, if they've completed their fee waiver, they've seen their lawyer and everything. What we don't want happening is we don't want applicants coming all the way to exit, having spent their full day here at the clinic being served, only to find out for the very first time that they do not qualify to take the test in their native language if they do not speak English, right? So the lawyer should already have caught that. Even our registration should already have caught that. From the very beginning, we want to advise all of our applicants, if they do not qualify for the English language exemption, asking them if they're able to, or if they are willing to take the test in English. Otherwise, they would fail if they were unprepared or unable to do it. So if we have an applicant who's, let's say she's 64 years old and she's been a legal permanent resident for 18 years. Well, rather, I'm sorry, if she's been a legal permanent resident for 8 years, right, then that means she would have to wait until 15 years to qualify for the exemption. So we don't want applicants to come into the clinic and not know that they do not qualify for the English language exemption. So keeping that in mind. And for further information around exemptions and what the qualifications for exemptions are, please refer to the N400 volunteer training, where we go over the N400, and it will be in, I believe, part 2 or part 3 of the application, where it shows the breakdown of the exemptions. 50 years old, being a legal permanent resident for 15 years, 20 years, 55 years old, been a legal permanent resident for at least 15 years, and 65 years old and been a legal permanent resident for at least 20 years, more or less like that. So please refer to that training to learn about exemptions, okay? So once you've checked this out and you got all the information from the lawyer has signed it and dated it, you go ahead and you proceed with reviewing the applicant's N400. Now here you'll look through the entire N400 checking for errors. You check to see that the USCIS number is correct. That's a 9-digit number on their green card. You check to see that they're eligible for the exemption from the English language test if the applicant does not speak English. And you'll review the questions on Part 12. If anything is unclear on the questions answered yes to, inquire with the lawyer once more, even though at this point they should be good to go. But sometimes some questions slip through, right? So we always want to double check. Review the applicant's fee waiver. Ask the applicant for the tax return, government assistance letters for reviewing the waiver form, and look through the waiver in detail, checking for any errors. Going back really quickly to the N400, remember at this point the lawyer has already seen the N400 completed. The N400 volunteer has completed it and looked over it one more time. So this would be the 3rd time that the N400 is being checked by a volunteer at our exit station. Even though it's already been looked at twice, chances are you may still find an error. I have volunteered for the exit station many, many times, and I always find errors at the N400. applications. So, you know, people make mistakes. Sometimes things slip through, and that's why this station is so important, because this is a final screening process. This is a final review process to make sure that everything is correct and we don't jeopardize the person's application based on a mistake we made, right? So once you've checked all of that, both forms, you assemble the packet in proper order. You would assemble it first with the fee waiver application, whether it's the I-912 or the I-942, and the fee payment, which is a money order or a check for either the reduced fee waiver cost of, I believe it's about a little over $400. I'm not sure the exact cost, but the exact cost amount will be available to you at the clinic. And if you don't qualify for the fee waiver and you're just applying and paying the cost, it's $725. But most of the times our applicants don't come in and already have the money order written. They don't have the check already written, and that's okay. We are just putting the application of the fee waiver, or putting a sticky note or on the checklist letting them know that before they send this application off to make sure they put that money order in at the top. Then the next thing you put behind it is the N400 application, and the last thing you put behind that is the N400 supporting documentation, including a copy of the front and back of the legal permanent residency card. At the N400 station, once they print out the application, they should also print out the copy of the green card. If they don't, just go ahead to the printing station and they'll get a copy for you. Supporting documentation would include things like marriage certificate, things like that. If they need to make a second copy of something, making sure that they make that second copy. So putting supporting documentation. Once you've gathered everything together in proper order, you prepare the envelope, put everything inside, you print the applicant's name and address on the envelope provided, and explain to the applicant how to mail the package by certified mail. They'll have like a green card that they'll give to the person at the post office. So we'll give them instructions on how to do that, and insert all documents in the order you assembled for them, right? Next, you'll explain the next steps. If the applicant is being referred out based on the legal review's final assessment, explain how to get an appointment with the legal services referral group. We'll give them a page with information of legal services. We usually highlight the Catholic Legal Services, great organization where you can have one-on-ones with lawyers for further review. If the applicant is returning to an FNA clinic, give registration information. If the applicant is ready to mail the application, explain what the process is via mail. Getting a receipt from USCIS, the biometrics appointment, the interview, and the naturalization ceremony, right? Explaining that process, what's next. And finally, you'll give the applicant information and study materials. Any study materials that they need for the interview and the exam, we'll give them, although they should already have it on their intake folder, which is a blue folder they'll hand to you at the end as well, offering resources on where to take citizenship classes. And then you refer them to FLIC's Florida New Americans program table to get more information about how to get involved. Once you're finished with them, if the application has been completed, you would write completed on the intake folder, the blue intake folder they hand to you, and you go ahead and give it to the station coordinator, and she'll file it away. If it's pending, you'll write pending on it. If it's referred, you'll write referred on the folder, and then once again give it to the station coordinator who will file it for them. And then of course, last thing you want to do is congratulate them, and you want to thank them for coming. Becoming a citizen is a huge step, and it's one that can open doors to greater economic prosperity and a greater voice in our country's decisions. And being a part of FLIC and our movement for greater social justice is important for everyone, not just old or young, not just citizen or undocumented or non-citizen. And this is why we want to make sure that we send them over to our FLIC's FNA program table to give them more information about how to get involved, because people not only become citizens for the benefits and the advantages that come with it and for the security that comes with it, but also to become part of the political process, to get involved, right? And this work that we do is part of that. So make sure you do that as well. This is a very, very important date for them. Some applicants at this point will have been at the clinics for 2 or 3 hours. Maybe they haven't had anything to eat. They're tired, but they're excited and they're relieved. So congratulate them. Folks have been waiting for this day. We are seeing a huge surge in applicants who are applying, and they have been legal permanent residents for not just 5 years, but 15, 20, 30, even 40 years. We're seeing an inflow of applicants who are finally coming in to apply for citizenship, and it is because of our current political climate. So this movement and this work is very urgent, and it's very necessary. And so we want to thank you for being a part of this work. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email us at fna@floridaimmigrant.org or call our FLIC office at 305-571-7254. This is the general overview of our exit station volunteer training, roles and procedures. My name is Anthony Paz, and I am the regional trainer with the Florida Immigrant Coalition. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at our next clinic. Bye-bye.